Is that your understanding of 13 and 16?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else you want to point out about either stipulation?
And not with those stipulations.
Okay, sounds great. Anything else?
Your Honor, that's all from the plaintiff. We're ready for trial.
Okay, sounds good. Any preliminary matters from the defense?
Just one thing, Your Honor. We had a conversation with plaintiff counsel before today's trial. We just want to let Your Honor know that we'll be using exhibit 1 in opening statements.
Okay, so you said you had a conversation, and what you're suggesting is during that conversation, the other side approved you're using exhibit 1.
Yes.
Okay, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, you may use exhibit 1. Anything else?
No, Your Honor, with that, we're ready for trial.
Okay, so we'll start with opening statements, of course, and we'll begin with the plaintiff. You may proceed when we're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. May I prove the court? The journalist was safe. But the defendant didn't stop. It's July 20th, 2024. It's supposed to be a night just like any other at the Hellfire Lounge over in downtown Dorado. People are drinking, dancing, having a good time. And AJ Maloney, well, she's getting ready for her shift at the Hellfire Lounge. Now, Miss Maloney thinks that this shift is going to be just like any other. What she doesn't know is that she's about to be beat within an inch of her life in just a few short hours. Because this is no ordinary night shift, members of the jury. See, you're going to learn today that a journalist who had already been banned from that club infiltrated it that night. And Miss Maloney, she does her job. She kicks that journalist out. But when she does, the two of them get into an altercation. Members of the jury, you're going to learn that that journalist is the defendant's partner. And when the defendant catches sight of this, she jumps in to help her partner. But members of the jury, the defendant doesn't stop there. Even after her partner is safe, you're going to learn she takes this wooden block and she beats Miss Maloney over and over and over. You're going to learn that that attack was violent and nearly deadly. But you're not going to hear that from Miss Maloney herself. You can't. You see, as we stand here in court today, Miss Maloney is in the hospital. A year deep into a coma that we have no idea if she'll wake up. And the person who put her there is sitting right in that chair. It's the defendant. Members of the jury, that's the reason that the estate of Miss AJ Maloney has brought a suit of civil battery against the defendant. And to prove that to you today, we have to show you 3 simple facts by a preponderance of the evidence. We have to show you that first, the defendant took an action. Second, that action was taken with the intent of causing harm and was done with the intent of causing harmful contact on the behalf of the defendant. And finally, that because of this action, harmful contact was caused to the plaintiff. Members of the jury, you're actually going to hear from somebody who is working at that club. And that street performer, Mr. Darwish is going to take this stand and he's going to tell you all about everything he saw that. He's going to tell you about the differences between the injuries that Miss Maloney sustained and that journalist sustained. He'll tell you that they're pretty different. Members of the jury, you're also going to get a chance to hear from the owner of that club. And Miss Rajan is going to tell you about how her club has never been safe from the defendant, and that the defendant premeditated, planned this attack, and that at the end of the night, she had to see her own employee beaten, bloody, and bruised. You see, here in Morado, nobody's above the law. You shouldn't be allowed to hospitalize a woman just trying to do her job and get away with it. That's exactly what the defendant is trying to do tonight. Don't let her get away with it. At the end of today's trial, we'll ask that you find the defendant liable. Thank you.
All right, thank you, counsel. We'll just give you a moment to get settled and then we'll.
Yes, Your
start
Honor.
your opening. All right, defense counsel, you may proceed with your opening whenever you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor. Opposing counsel. Members of the jury. Without knowing the actual threat, you can't know the truth. Members of the jury, this is an intake from AJ Maloney. What this intake form will tell you is that AJ Maloney that night was coked up, methed up, had MDMA in his system, but members of the jury, you didn't hear any of that come out of plaintiff counsel's mouth just a moment ago. Why? It's because they're trying to sell you the story that AJ Maloney was just doing his job well, wasn't he? There's a reason they didn't tell you any of that. Because if you actually knew the threat that AJ Maloney posed on Ali Uchida, you would know the truth. So let's talk. Because of July 20th of last year, you'll learn that an investigative journalist walked into Hellfire Bar and thought that she was going to find evidence of a drug trafficking ring she thought was going to be at that bar. So as she's snooping around for evidence, what she doesn't know is that AJ Maloney is in the corner watching. Members of the jury, what she doesn't know is that AJ Maloney is high off of 3 different substances and he has a target. Because when AJ Maloney sees that journalist in a staff-only area, he's not thinking straight. So he takes a beeline after her and chases her outside the club, shoves her into an alley, and he can't control himself. So as he is towering over her, getting ready to beat her. Well, you learn something interesting, members of the jury, because he wasn't trying to fist fight. You'll learn those drugs in his system were the same drugs that he was trying to use against Ali Uchida that night. You'll learn in order to stop the evidence that she had found, in order to make sure she wasn't going to make an article about the drugs that she had been seeing, he was going to inject her with the same substance that he was hiding, just in liquid form. But what AJ Maloney doesn't know is that Ali Uchida's boyfriend is in the distance and can see what is going on, can see him towering over his girlfriend, can see him in his high rage. And so he does what anyone would do for a living. He defends her. So now that you know the actual threat, you know the truth. So remember, so we're raising what's called an affirmative defense. That affirmative defense of self-defense. That requires us to take on a burden. A burden we're going to prove with 2 witnesses. The first witness is going to tell you about the threat. And the second witness is going to tell you about the truth. So let's walk through that today. Because the first witness you're going to meet is Mr. Nova Stone. Mr. Stone is a regular at that bar, and he's going to tell you exactly what he saw on July 20th. Because not only was he outside that bar at one point, but he was also inside. He's going to tell you about the direct threat he heard come from AJ Maloney's mouth as he was chasing Ali Uchida in his high rage. I'll make sure you never investigate again. So now that we talked about the threat, let's talk about the truth. Because members of the jury, there is one person testifying today, able to tell you exactly what happened during that fight. Oh, we're going to call her to the stand. Her name is Miss Teddy Mothersbaugh. Miss Mothersbaugh is going to tell you that she was there that night, that she's a vigilante called the Serpent, that she saves people. And when she saw someone in a high rage, she knew she needed to do. She's gonna tell you that when she saw that syringe, she knew exactly the drug inside of it because it's the same drug that killed her younger brother. That dangerous drug is exactly the threat that we're talking about today. So members of the jury, now that you know the threat, and now that you know exactly the truth, now that we're going to present two people that are going to tell you that, there's only one way for you to rule in today's case. Not liable. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. So. Okay. Plaintiff, any witnesses to call or evidence to present?
Yes, Your Honor. Plaintiff calls Umi Darwish to the stand.
Okay, the Darwish. Step forward. Or sworn.
Yes, Your Honor.
And counsel, you may proceed whenever you.
Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
Of course I can. Hiya, honeys. My name is Umi Zawish, but you might know me as Umami.
Sorry, is it Mr. or Miss Darwish?
Oh, honey, I can be whatever you want me to be. You choose.
Miss Darwish, what do you do for a living?
Oh, what, you can't tell? I serve charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. I'm a street performer. Lately, I do my best work right out on the corner.
I'm sorry, you're a street performer?
Oh, yeah. If you want anything else, you gotta go deep into West Hollywood for that one, honey. No. My show is entitled Umami Dearest. You know, I get all dolled up and give the dolls what they want, honey. MSG. Manifesting Sexy Llama. But the truth is, I make my best money when I make people laugh.
So what exactly is your street performance?
Well, like I said, I just perform, go and interview people, see if they can give me tips. Anything works.
You mentioned you perform at the Hellfire Lounge. What's that?
Oh, it's the best nightclub downtown. You know, they always got the longest line with the drunkest people, and you're like, they got loose fingers, tip me more than what they made me so.
Do you know anyone who works at that club?
Actually, I do. Yeah, I mean, I see the workers going in and out. I'm basically there all the time. One of the workers that I saw the most was AJ Maloney.
Do you know someone named Teddy Mothersbaugh?
Yeah, I can't say that she's my favorite person in the world, no.
I want to talk to you about July 20th, 2024. Were you performing outside the club that day?
Honey, of course I was. Yes, I was there.
Did you see anyone familiar that night?
Yeah, actually, I saw AJ Maloney walk into the club. You know, typically she's the bouncer, but she wasn't looking the door that night.
Did you see Ali Uchida and Teddy Mothersbaugh?
Oh, yeah. I did see them. I must admit I wasn't quite happy when they pulled up.
Why not?
Well, because they were always heckling me, telling me my makeup's not so good. What do you think?
Did you ever interact with them that night?
No, and thank goodness that I didn't, because you know what? I had some chosen words for them. No, they was just yapping away out in the alley over there.
Did you hear them say anything when they were talking in the alley?
Did I? Yeah. Get this, real gypsy. Listen. They said, this is where I'll exit the lounge. Make sure that you're here and you're ready, because this is where I'm gonna lure him out.
Did you hear Ali say anything else?
I did. It got real juicy, so I leaned in closer. She said, but don't make it too messy. You know, we still need to get the information out of them.
After Ali said, don't make it too messy
Mm-hmm.
to Teddy, what did Teddy do after that?
Well, Teddy, she picked up her phone, dialed it something, and then she goes, Alfred, get my soup ready. I need to take out the trash. And then she got into this big black sports car. I mean, I had no idea that she was that rich. She should have taken me with her. I could have shown her a good time.
After you saw Teddy get into the black sports car, did you ever see that car again later that night?
You know, actually, I saw one that looked exactly like it, pull up later that night. And guess who walks out? The serpent.
The serpent, who's that?
Oh, it's this a local vigilante type. Her whole shtick is justice. One time, she beat up this guy so bad and then tied her to a pole. Well, it came
Objection,
like
Your Honor,
this.
lack of foundation.
Explain.
Yes, Your Honor, we're hearing a lot of things about the serpent, what the serpent did then, what the serpent's doing now. We need to know a little bit more foundation about how this witness recognizes who the serpent is, how she can recognize that on a separate occasion, the serpent is the same person that the serpent is on this night. We just need a little bit more than just this hearsay, Your Honor.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor, Miss Darwish is simply saying that she saw the serpent, and in her response right now, she's going into how she recognized that it was the serpent. She's explaining that she's seen the serpent multiple times prior.
Yeah, I don't think that was the testimony. I think I heard the witness say that, the individual was recognized as the serpent, and there's a lot of testimony about what the serpent does. Didn't get much foundation on that, so I'll go ahead and sustain the objection, and you can kind of lay some foundation so we know how this witness knows those things.
Sure.
Sustained.
Miss Darwish, have you ever seen the serpent before while you're performing out in that intersection?
I have. They always have this recognizable costume on. I mean, I must admit, never look as good as I do. But yeah, I recognize them. They're wearing the all green, that kind of thing.
So who did you see get out of that black sports car you saw Teddy get into?
Well, it looked exactly like the serpent, wearing that same green outfit.
That night on the 20th, after you saw the serpent get out of that sports car,
Mhm.
what did you see the serpent do?
Well, she ran right into that alley.
Did you ever hear anything that was happening in that alley?
I did. I heard some noises and I tried to run, but my stiletto broke and I tipped over my tip bucket. I mean, I couldn't afford to lose all my tips that night, so I started getting on my hands and knees and trying to pick it up.
How long did you hear that going on in the alley?
Oh, God. Must have been for like 10 minutes. I did real well that night.
What happened after you finished grabbing your tips?
Well, I started hobbling over to the alleyway to see if I could figure out what was going on.
What did you see there?
Before I could see anything, the serpent runs past me again, bumps into me, almost knocks me down.
Did you see anything laying in the alley when you got there?
Actually, yeah, I did. When I got into the alley, I saw Ali Uchida and AJ Maloney just laying there. Ali looked pretty bruised up, but she was getting up, and AJ though, well, she wasn't moving. She was bleeding all over. It was pretty bad.
Do you know what happened to AJ after that attack?
They went to the hospital, and from what I heard, they fell into a coma.
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, Council.
Cross-examination, Your Honor.
Yeah, you can proceed when you're ready.
Okay. Trying somewhere new.
And no, it's totally fine. You get my best angle right here.
All right. May I proceed?
You may.
Ma'am, let's start by talking about how you ended up on that stand, okay?
Well, good afternoon to you too, of course.
Because the plaintiff reached out to you directly, right?
Yeah, that's right.
She asked you to testify.
Yeah,
And to be clear, to your knowledge, the plaintiff, she's not Miss Maloney's sister, is she?
no, I think she's a employer.
Right, she's not her aunt or her cousin.
No, not that I know of.
She's just the owner of a nightclub, right?
Yeah, the one that AJ worked at, sure.
Emerson Ridge is her name.
Yeah, it is. She's sitting right there. We got matching lips.
Ma'am, you have no idea why the owner of that company would want to file this lawsuit, do you?
I mean, AJ was pretty beat up that night, She's in a coma now, so.
Ma'am, you have no idea why the plaintiff would want to file a lawsuit against Miss Mothersbaugh, do you?
No.
Well, let's focus on why you agreed to testify, okay?
Sure.
Ma'am, you call Miss Rajan a good friend of yours, right?
I mean, yeah, she lets me perform out on the corner, yeah.
A good friend?
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to be on her bad side, do I have that right?
Oh, no, she's a very prominent figurehead. I am pretty sure she's gonna win the mayor run. You know, I wanna get in there, okay?
Right, you want to make sure you stay on her good side.
Well, of course.
Because right now, she lets you perform outside the club, right?
Oh my God, does she? The first Wednesday of every month. Though it's pretty empty because everybody just paid the rent. But Miss Emerson, she loves to watch these hips sway. And let me tell you, they don't lie.
Right, man, you're actually one step ahead of me. Sometimes she'll let you go in the club, perform on stage, right?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
That's where you make all of your money, is performing outside that club.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't afford to lose that much.
No, I mean, I could go somewhere else and perform, but I like performing there.
You can't really afford to be on Miss Rajan's bad side, can you?
If you're saying that's where I make my money, yeah, that's right.
Let's talk about why that is, why you need that money, okay?
Okay.
Because you don't just know the person in that chair, you actually know the person in that chair too, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's Teddy Mother's fault.
Right, that's a Miss Mother's Ball, do I have that right?
Yeah,
Last year, you had a second source of income, right?
I did. Yeah, that's right.
You were giving tips to a cop, do I have that right?
Yeah, I was a confidential informant. You know, you wouldn't believe the crazy things that people tell drag queens.
And you were being paid under the table, right?
Yeah, cash, if that's what you mean.
But you didn't exactly have the authority for that job, did you?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, ma'am, you were an unofficial informant, right?
Well, that's what I found out. I thought it was pretty official when I was doing it.
Right, you were exposed for being an unofficial informant, right?
I was written in the papers, that's true.
And you think Miss Mothersbaugh is the person who exposed you, right?
Well, her partner, her girlfriend, Ali Uchida, was the one that wrote the article, and it was right after they kept on asking me about Emerson Rajan. The next day is when they released the article.
Right, I'm just focusing on what you believe. You
Sure.
believe Miss Mothersbaugh is the reason that you lost that second job, isn't it?
Yeah, because I wasn't telling them much information, that's true.
And when you lost that second income, things got tough, didn't it?
Oh, well, I went from 2 incomes to 1 income, so yeah.
You had to start selling your clothes just to pay for rent. Do I have that right?
Yeah, but you know, I look quite expensive, so I made quite a bit of money off of that one.
You do, ma'am, but just making
thank
sure I got
you.
that testimony right.
Yeah, you do.
Ma'am, you blame Miss Mothersbaugh for that.
Well, yeah, she was the one that wrote the paper, the reason why I went from 2 to 1.
Ma'am, that's a yes. You blame the defendant in this case for your financial troubles.
Yes, she's the reason.
And now you're testifying against Miss Mothersbaugh.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying what I know.
Testifying against Miss Mothersbaugh voluntarily. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about a couple of things that you can't testify to, okay?
Okay.
Because like you said, you didn't actually see the fight that night, the altercation.
No, I didn't.
You broke your heel, you didn't get there in time, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You don't know how this fight started, do you?
No,
You don't know how the fight ended, do you?
I do know how the fight ended.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Are you telling us that you got around the corner and you actually saw the fight?
No, I saw the aftermath where AJ was bloody and not moving.
And then the aftermath, not the fight itself, right?
No, the end of the fight, you're right.
You don't know how Miss Mothersbaugh was involved in that altercation.
I don't, no.
You don't know if the only reason that she was there was to defend somebody.
No.
Thank you very much for your time. Your Honor, I have nothing further.
Thank you, counsel. Right, this second.
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Thank you so much for your time today.
Of course, anytime.
Okay, yes, any witnesses to call or evidence to present?
Yes, Your Honor, that's again. Your Honor, the defense calls Miss Nova Stone, Mr. Nova Stone.
Mr. Stone, step forward. You are sworn. And counsel. You may proceed when you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Ready, sir?
Ready.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hello, jury people. Nice to meet you.
How are you doing today, sir?
I am annoyed.
Oh, why is that, sir?
If I would have known how much my son would whine about how hot the car is, I would have turned off the baby monitor before I came into the courtroom. Oh, that was a joke. Sorry. I hope he does not take someone's baby.
Sir, let's hope that it's all right. Let's just dive right in. Do you know how you're involved in today's case?
I do. I was at the club last July 20th, the 19th, the 18th. I go to the club a lot. The hellfire.
And sir, do you know the defendant in today's case?
I do. I spoke to her outside of the club. The teddy bear.
Is that a nickname, sir?
No,
Right, well, how do you know the defendant, sir?
we were just chit chat outside of the club. A regular chatter, nothing crazy.
And do you know someone named Miss AJ Maloney?
I do. I know her. She was a bouncer at the club.
Sounds like the club's coming up a lot. Let's dive a little bit more into the club, okay?
Let's dive in.
How long have you been going there?
Oh, a long time. Growing up, my father told me, Nova, if you keep up with this lifestyle, we'll go to eternal hellfire. He was wrong. I only go on the weekends and Tuesdays, but only if they do karaoke.
Sir, have you ever seen somebody using any substances at your club, at that club?
I have, but it was only after that Rajan took over.
Sir, are you referring to the plaintiff in today's case?
Yes. Hello, Rajan.
Sir, after Miss Rajan took over that club, what sorts of drugs did you see people taking?
That dust stuff. They called it the hell dust. I never took anything because I thought it sounded well stupid.
Sir, would you recognize a bag of hell dust if I were to show it to you?
Yeah, I would.
Your Honor, I'm approaching opposing counsel with Exhibit 8.
Commissioner Percy, what is it saying?
You've seen this exhibit prior?
Yes, Your Honor, we've seen
Yeah,
this exhibit.
objections right now.
I know, Your Honor.
Okay, you've never seen. Thank you.
Sir, does this look like one of those bags that you'd see at the Hellfire Club?
It does. It looks just like it.
Your Honor, at this time we move Exhibit 8 into evidence.
Any objections to admitting exhibit 8?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, there are no objections, exhibit 8 is admitted.
Sir, did you ever see any employees at the club with a bag like that?
I did. Yes, AJ was a bouncer. I saw her with one of those bags.
Can you remember when that was?
It was the night of July 20th of last year.
I want to talk a little bit more about July 20th of last year, okay?
All right.
What time did you get to the club that night?
Oof, it was early for me. I think sometime around 8:30, 9 even.
How long were you there?
About 1 hour, half hour. I got kicked out. Dancing on the bar like a coyote ugly. Spilled my drink all over myself and some other person. We got into some sort of tussle, which I was promptly kicked out for. You guessed it, being too beautiful.
Sir, what happened after you were kicked out of the club?
Well, they dragged me outside and I saw the teddy bear. I said, "Oh, teddy bear." She said, "You were probably concussed." She called me an Uber to the hospital. It was Uber helpful. Yours.
Sir, before you got in that Uber, did you and Miss Mothersbaugh have a chance to talk about anything else?
We did. We talked about her girlfriend, so Umi Dawish.
Sir, do you know Miss Mothersbaugh's girlfriend?
Oh, sorry.
Pardon
I'm
me,
mixing
Miss
up
Maloney.
so many names. Umi Dawish, Umami, it was an incredible street performance that I would see outside. Gives out all my tips. Her girlfriend was a journalist, Eli Uchida.
Sir, at that time, did you know what had happened to Miss Uchida? Why Miss Maloney was so concerned?
No, but I had seen her inside of the club. That bouncer, AJ from earlier, was sort of chasing her around, screaming, "I'll make sure you never investigate again." Sounded sort of like Sarita.
Sir, did you see Miss Ali Uchida again that night?
I did, but it wasn't until a little while later at the hospital.
And let's talk about the hospital. What did you do when you got there?
First thing I see, 2 doors to the emergency room burst open, these guns wheeling right towards me. I see Ali Cheetah and the bouncer from earlier.
Could you see what Ali Cheeto looked like at that time?
Oh, really bad.
Sir?
No offense.
No, sir, I'm referring to her condition. Did you see her condition at that time?
Oh, right. Sort of coming in and out of consciousness, horribly bruised. It was difficult to look at. Sad. I'm sorry, I did not expect to get so emotional.
Sir, if you need a moment.
I'm fine.
Well, did you see Teddy at that time?
I did. We were both sitting in the waiting room together.
Did you get a chance to talk to Teddy at that time?
We did. She was talking to me about her girlfriend, Ali Uchita. She said she wanted to protect her, make sure she was okay. It was sweet. Teddy bear.
Ma'am, you said that Miss Mothersbaugh, sorry, you said Miss Mothersbaugh was talking about her girlfriend. Did she say anything about wanting to hurt Mr. Maloney?
No, nothing like that.
Did she mention an AJ Maloney at all at the hospital?
No. We just talked about Ali.
Thank you for your time, sir. Your Honor, nothing further.
All right, thank you, counsel. Right, plaintiff, you may proceed with your cross-examination whenever we're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Stone, how are you doing today?
Less annoyed.
That's
Oh.
good to hear.
Now I feel relieved.
So do I, Mr. Stone. Let's go ahead and get through this cross then.
All right, sounds good to me.
Well, like you were saying earlier, you spent quite a bit of time at the Hellfire Lounge, right?
I did. That is right.
And you said weekends and Tuesdays if there's karaoke.
Yes, absolutely.
But you actually used to go there most nights a week, right?
Yes, they started doing karaoke more and more. It's making my way through all of Adele's songs.
Does 5 nights a week sound about right?
That is right.
You'd even go so far as to call the Hellfire Lounge your second home, right?
Yes,
But you don't love the Hellfire Lounge so much anymore, right?
no, now they have ugly carpets.
Well, that's also because of new management, right?
Yes, that is right.
It's because Miss Emerson Rajan took over that club.
Yes, hello again.
Well, Mr. Stone, you kind of wish things would go back to how they were before Miss Rajan took over the club, right?
Sure,
She also had you banned from that club. Do I have that right?
she did after the Coyote Ugly incident. Now I have to walk all the way up from 72nd Street if I want a club. It's not as close as 73rd.
Well, I want to take you back to when you were frequenting that club, all right, Mr. Stone?
Sure,
Oh, you probably saw some of the people who were hanging around there, right?
I did. That's right. And they saw me too. Oh, would you miss me?
Mr. Stone, one of the people that you saw a little later into July was Miss Teddy Mothersbaugh, right?
That is right.
But you hadn't really seen Miss Mothersbaugh around there, right?
No, I had not.
And when you talked to them, they actually asked you if you knew when AJ Maloney worked, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. AJ was a big muscly bouncer. I wanted to know when they were working too.
Well, Miss Mothersbaugh asked you specifically about the time that AJ Maloney was working, right?
Yes, that is right.
I want to talk about why that might be.
Sure,
Because you were at the club on the night of July 20th, right?
I was.
You saw the defendant that night, right?
I did, yes.
You saw her not in the bar.
That is right. I saw her outside.
You saw her across the street, right?
I did. Hello, teddy bear!
Well, you don't know what the defendant was doing across the street, right?
No, I did not.
You don't know if she was waiting for someone, maybe.
No, I did not speak to her at this point.
Well, I want to move on to what happened later that night, all right? Because it was a nightclub, you were drinking, weren't you?
That's right.
You had 3 drinks to start that night.
No, I had 8.
Well, I want to start off with how many drinks you had. The first time you were drinking, you had 3, right?
I start with 3 to get to 8 later.
That's right. You
That's
had
right.
5 more after that 3 to get to 8, right?
Of course, I was at a dance.
And then after you had those 8 drinks, that was about 2 hours that you took to have those 8 drinks,
Yes, that's right.
you had another drink, right, Mr. Stone?
I did.
Now, you'd agree with me, you were pretty drunk by then, right?
I had a little buzz going. Yes.
That was when you stumbled outside of the club and you saw who you thought was the masked vigilante, the Serp, right?
That is what I thought. Yes.
And you say you saw the defendant at the same time as the serpent?
Yes, I did.
Is it possible that what you actually saw was Miss Darwish, that street performer you were mentioning earlier?
I mean, don't know, Miss Darwish looks exactly like the serpent, but I don't know.
Well, isn't it true that you also saw Miss Darwish in a serpent costume earlier that night?
Oh, yes, I did.
It's possible then that you saw Miss Darwish and Miss Mothersbaugh at the same time, right?
Sure, that is a possibility. All I remember from seeing Miss Darwish early was going, yes, and giving her all my tips.
Well, Mr. Stone, I want to fast forward to a little bit later that night at the hospital, all right?
Sure.
Because you were mentioning before Agent Maloney and Ali Uchida's condition, right?
That is correct.
And you were saying that, well, Miss Uchida was a little bruised, right?
That is what I saw. Yes.
You also remember that Miss Uchida, she was gaining consciousness, right?
Yes, that is right.
And you saw that Miss Maloney, well, she was unconscious, correct?
That is right.
There was blood when you saw Miss Maloney.
I saw blood. That is right.
You know Miss Maloney's in a coma now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You know she hasn't woken up since.
Yes, that is true.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Stone. Your Honor, nothing.
All right, thank you, counsel. Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor. May Mr. Stone step down?
All right, thank you for your side. Thanks for the no. May step down. What are we gonna do with the weapons and the drugs?
Your Honor, I can retrieve. Exhibit 8. Oh, retrieve them.
All right, so my understanding is, what this is that we have coming up, we're supposed to take a 10-minute break in this room, so I will usually keep. Or what's our time limit? Okay. So we will see you back in 15 minutes, let's say, or 40.
What was that farmer's name? Darwish. Oh, God.
We should swap one. All right. So case is back on estate of Maloney, the other spa. Plaintiff, any witnesses to call or evidence to present?
Yes, Your Honor. Plaintiff calls Emerson Rajan.
Okay. Step forward. You are sworn. So we proceed on the way.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Good afternoon. I'm Emerson Rajan. It's nice to meet you all.
What do you do for a living?
Well, it honestly depends on the day. I am head of Rajan Corporations and it used to belong to my mother. And so we dabble in a little bit of everything from technology to real estate, but I'm also the owner of Hellfire Lounge. That's why we're here today.
Well, man, we've heard a lot about the Hellfire Lounge. But I'd like to hear it from you. What's it like?
Well, I like to think of it kind of as a mix between the Studio 54 and then the Gotham Lounge. I kind of like they had a love child. I love it.
What kind of business is it?
It's a nightclub. We serve cocktails, we have music, we sometimes have live performers. I mean, you'll regret not missing it.
I'm gonna be blunt, Mr. John. Is it all legitimate?
Yes, of course it is. Look, Hellfire was the first of the businesses that I started on. That place, it's like my child. I make sure that it runs as cleanly as possible.
Have you been here all throughout trial today?
Yes,
Do you remember when Mr. Stone said he only started seeing this drug held us after you took over?
I did.
What do you have to say about that?
People love having a villain. I mean, there's been rumors surrounding Hellfire from the second that it appears. I mean, that there's gangs, that there's drugs, that there's gangs with drugs. You name it, and I've probably been accused of it.
I'd like to talk about the serpent. You know him?
I do. She's right over there.
To be frank with us, man. How do you feel about the defendant? Henny Motherspawn.
Oh, I hate her.
Why?
Why? I mean, she sent one of my employees to the hospital. I mean, beat this man almost into an inch of his life. How could I not?
Were there ever any threats against AJ Malone?
Yes. AJ started finding pictures on his locker. There was this one, it was a picture of him walking home. It was circled in red ink and it said, "You're next."
How do you know it was from the defendant?
It was signed by Soto Serpent.
Well, I'd like to focus on the night in question, July 20th. Sure. Can you tell us what was going on at Hellfire?
Yeah, so that was a pretty big night for us. We had a full house. We were supposed to have a really expensive Frank Sinatra impersonator. So I was just kind of running all over the place, trying to make sure things were going my way.
Did you see the fight between AJ Maloney and Ali Uchida?
No, like I said, I was running around and suddenly a fight broke out in the bar. That happens a lot. So I had to go step in. So when another employee just comes in running, yelling that there was something going on in the app.
You go check it out.
I did, but by the time I got there, both Ali and AJ, they were on the ground.
How'd they look?
Ali, I only noticed a few bruises here and there, but with AJ, I will never forget it. There was blood everywhere. I mean, his head was literally in a pool of blood.
Well, you tried to help.
I'm not a doctor. And so I ran back inside. I told one of the cocktail waitresses to call somebody, and I made sure that 2 ambulances came in and that Ali and AJ were taken to the nearest hospital.
Do you remember when Umi Darwish and Nova Stone testified earlier to seeing AJ Maloney and Ali Uchida after the incident?
Yes,
Well, I'd like to see if what they saw matches up to what the doctors actually said. Did you ever see the medical intake forms of these patients?
yes. While we were preparing for trial, I received some exhibits, and those included the intake forms.
Could you flip to exhibits 1 and 2 in your binder? Your Honor, these are pre-admitted for a pre-trial, and I'll be publishing them.
1 and 2 are pre-admitted?
They used it on opening statements, Your Honor, there was that discussion beforehand.
Okay, just, you agree with that? Whoever's across.
Yeah, we stipulated that both are pre-admitted.
Okay,
Both can be admitted after the,
sure.
Big
There's
deal.
permission to use an opening as one thing and actually being admitted into evidence for the purpose of the trial and jury considerations are two separate things. I heard one and not the other.
yeah, we have no issue with these.
Sounds good.
My apologies for the confusion, Your Honor. Plaintiff offers exhibits 1 and 2.
Sounds like you don't need to, you can go ahead and use it, I was just clarifying.
Perfect. Ma'am, what type of injuries does the physician say Ali Uchida had?
Say that there was minor abrasions on the hip, that there was a wrenched shoulder, no broken bones, minimal head trauma.
All right, flip to the other one. What about AJ Malone?
Well, it says right here that there was blunt force trauma to the head, torso, extremities, that there was fractures, I mean, basically everywhere. There's bruising across the upper spine. There's a lot here.
Do you remember when opposing counsel stood right there and she said AJ Maloney was coked up on 3 different substances holding a syringe?
I did.
If you look at the toxicology report, could you tell us what it actually says?
It says small amounts of controlled substances detected in the bloodstream.
Did the police ever tell you they found a syringe in that alley?
No, this is the first time I hear this.
Well, do you know if they found anything in that alley?
Yes. Well, I actually found, I found a wooden block. It was covered in blood, so I just reported it to the police.
That block. Ma'am, is this that block? I'm holding up exhibit 7 for the witness.
Yes, it is, but, well, it doesn't have blood in it.
Do you know if this wooden block had any relation to AJ Maloney's injuries?
Well, I think I remember one of your colleagues, it was the woman in the blue suit at the beginning of trial. She said that both sides agreed that this could have possibly caused the injuries.
Thank you, ma'am. We have nothing further.
All right, thank you, counsel.
Cross-examination, Your Honor?
Yes. So go ahead and, counsel Gallo. All right, you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Apologies, Your Honor, some technical difficulties.
Whenever you're ready.
May I proceed?
May.
A moment ago on direct examination, you told us that Hellfire Lounge was a legitimate business.
Yes,
You said you run it as cleanly as possible.
I absolutely tried to.
You said something interesting. You said, you name it, I've probably been accused of it, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's been massive rumors going around about Hellfire since the second it opened.
What about RICO charges?
Oh yeah, those two.
You were actually convicted of RICO charges, right?
Yeah, that was a massive goose chase. I genuinely don't even know how that happened.
Conviction, that's more than just an accusation, right?
Sure,
So just to be clear for the members of the jury, RICO charges, that's racketeering, isn't it?
that's my understanding.
Now, so when you said Hellfire is still a legitimate business, I want to talk a bit more about that because that's not actually true, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, there's lots of drugs at your club.
Well, it's none of my business what my customers do and don't do outside of my club.
What about drugs in your office?
Are you talking about the RICO charges again?
No, I'm talking about when the feds found a kilo of illegal substances in your office.
Yeah, when I first bought this club, you know, it used to be a really old club in the 70s. We found drugs hidden behind a wall.
It was really old. The drugs were hidden behind a self-portrait of you.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, and you're still saying there's no drugs? That you run a legitimate business?
I do.
Okay. Well, you mentioned, AJ Maloney's intake form. I noticed you left some things out. Do you still have that in front of you?
Yes, I do.
You mentioned the toxicology report, but I do think you left some things out. Would I be able to read it out loud and then you finish it off for me? To tell me if I read it correctly?
Sure, we can do that.
All right, so the toxicology report, what it actually says is small amounts of controlled substances detected in the bloodstream, including cocaine, MDMA, and methamphetamine. Correct.
That's right, that's the first bullet point.
Next, subsequent testing confirms that hell dust found on the patient's person is consistent with the combination of controlled substances found in the bloodstream. Correct?
Right, that's in the toxicology report.
All right. So I want to be clear. An employee of your club, they were found to be on illegal substances immediately after their shift at your company.
That's my understanding.
So I want to get something clear. Would you say that that's your responsibility?
Making sure that my employees don't do drugs?
Yes.
No.
All right, in your deposition, you said that what people do outside of your site isn't your responsibility, but your employees doing drugs at your job, that's not something that you're particularly worried about?
I'm not aware of any employee of mine consuming drugs at the location.
Wait a minute, this intake report was taken immediately after AJ Maloney left work at your company, correct?
That's my understanding.
And you're telling us that somehow when AJ Maloney, between when they were in the ambulance, got hooked on cocaine, methamphetamines, and MDMA?
Again, I do not know when these drugs were taken.
So let's talk a bit more about how you actually felt about AJ Maloney. To be clear, you knew that AJ Maloney was going to testify against you.
I was aware of that.
You knew that AJ Maloney was going to say that you were a drug kingpin, right?
Yeah, I was aware of that.
When you heard those rumors, they made you furious, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, I had hired this person. I trusted them. This was honestly the last thing I expected.
So that's a yes. That made you furious.
Sure.
Now, today you're telling us, you agreed that what happened to AJ Maloney that night was a horrible tragedy, right?
It was. Honestly, it's one of those things that you don't forget seeing. You don't forget seeing someone in that kind of state.
That's right, he's in a coma still.
Unfortunately, yes, since that night, he hasn't woken up.
But before today, when the members of the jury weren't here, you actually called that karma?
I did before.
So I just want to be clear, you characterize a man being in a coma as karma for planning to testify against you.
I have called it before.
And you would say that when you found out AJ Maloney was testifying against you, you were furious.
Yes, I already said that.
Nobody crosses you and gets away with it, right?
No, I have had to file suits against people before.
So that's a yes to my question, that nobody crosses you and then gets away with it.
That's correct. I take all measures possible legal way to make sure that, no defamation occurs.
So I want to talk about what this lawsuit is actually about for you today, because it's about revenge, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Revenge against Teddy Mothersbaugh.
100%. I mean, after literally beating one of my employees almost to death, yes, I want to make sure that this city is safe.
Let's talk about why else you might be filing this lawsuit, because Ms. Mothersbaugh over there, the two of you actually have sort of a business situation going on between the two of you, right?
Sort of. I'm like I said, I'm head of Brajan Corporations. She is head of Mothersbaugh Corporations. I've been trying to get a merger be done, but she keeps vetoing it.
She keeps vetoing that, right? But if she loses this lawsuit and you win this lawsuit, then she no longer has veto power, right?
That's my understanding.
Exactly. It's your understanding that Ms. Mothersbaugh wouldn't have veto power over the merging of the two of your companies.
Right. From what's been explained to me, I think that's how that works.
Just to be clear, that means that if you win this lawsuit and she loses this lawsuit, you think you're going to inherit millions of dollars, correct?
And I think so. Again, I don't know if that could happen or not, but I believe that's my understanding of that.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, that's the council. And I'm gonna see you. So, you redirect council.
None, Your Honor, we asked Ms. Rajan be allowed to come back to the table.
All right, thank you for your time, Ms. Rajan. You may step down.
All right. Vince, any witnesses to call or evidence to present?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Miss Teddy Mothersbaugh to the stand.
All right, that will do. All right, counsel, you may proceed when you're ready.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please introduce yourself?
Of course, hi, good afternoon. I'm Teddy Mothersbaugh.
Now, before we talk about Teddy Mothersbaugh, I want to talk about someone that we keep hearing about throughout today's trial, the servant. I have to ask, are you the servant?
Yes, I'm the serpent. It's I guess a name. I use a persona when I try to keep people in the city safe.
Now, we heard on opening statements today that you got in an altercation between someone named AJ Maloney that night. Is that true?
It is. I was involved in a fight with Mr. Maloney.
Did you start that fight?
No,
So I want to talk about how we got here. Now, you said that you're the serpent. Can you tell us what made you want to become a vigilante?
sure. I guess I felt what a lot of people feel. I felt helpless. When I was a kid, I saw my parents die.
I'm sorry.
It's people don't really talk about how being alone like that can change your life. How you just have nobody. Like in middle school when Hannah Madison was bullying me, there was no one I could call. Or when something good happened, when I got the lead in Annie, there was no one I could call for that either. I guess I wanted to be somebody that you could call.
So how'd you go from a helpless kid to a local vigilante?
When you say local vigilante, I mean like I wear a hood and a mask and, you know, sometimes I steal parking tickets or return purses and nothing crazy until July 20th, I guess.
What happened on July 20th?
On July 20th, I was outside of Hellfire and I saw the bouncer, AJ Maloney. I saw him attack my girlfriend, Allie.
You said you saw Mr. Maloney attack with your girlfriend. We'll get to what happened on that night in a moment, but for now, I want to keep talking about how you got to becoming the local vigilante. Can you tell us what changed for you?
I think it had a lot to do with my brother. I saw, I don't know if you guys are local, but Tower City, it hasn't always been like this, you know, the constant news reports of people ODing, the weekly, like, the weekly drug arrests. It used to be a nice place to live. Like, I guess 7 years ago, things started to change, and I started to want to do something about it.
Were you personally affected by these changes?
I was. A couple years back, there was this new drug that was coming out of Hellfire Lounge, and my brother, Kieran, he got hooked on.
You said there was a drug coming out of Hellfire. Do you know the name of it?
Yeah, it was called Helldust.
How'd your brother get hooked on Helldust?
It was normal stuff, almost like insultingly banal, I guess. Like he tore his ACL in a soccer tournament and he was in all this pain after surgery.
And he went to the doctor and they prescribed him this drug called Mexicali.
What's that?
It's I hadn't heard of it either, so I went online, I looked it up, and I found this video of Emerson Rajan talking about it.
What was she saying in that video?
Well, it was on behalf of her company, Rajan Corp. I guess it was a promotional video. She was talking about how this drug Nexacal, it was produced by Rajan Corp. She said it was getting really popular. She said it was safe. So I thought, you know, if it'll make Kieran feel better, then sure, I'll try it.
Did it make him feel better?
It did. And then his prescription ran out, and he felt worse. And he got mean. He got angry, and he started lying to me. And that's when I found out that he had replaced one drug with another. That's when I found out that he was on Hellmouth.
Did you ever see him taking it?
I did. Sometimes I would see him holding a little baggie. Hell dust, it's got kind of a distinctive color if you look closely.
Would you recognize a bag of hell dust if I were to show it to you? You know, approaching the witness with what's in evidence as exhibit A. What's that?
This looks just like the bags of hell dust I would see Kieran with. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it from here, but it's got kind of this grayish, bluish flecks in it. That's how I could tell.
Did it always look like that powdered substance?
No, sometimes he would mix it with water and put it into a syringe.
You say you put it into a syringe. Did you ever see him inject?
Yeah, the night. There was this one night, I got home from work and I think I was pissed off at Kieran about something. I don't remember what. So I went to his room to yell at him and he wasn't in there. So I went to the bathroom and it was locked and I was knocking on the door trying to break it down. And by the time I did, I saw him in there, hunched over one of those syringes I was talking about. When you mix the dust, it's the powder turns into from this grayish blue to this bright blue. That's how I could tell it was same substance.
What did you do when you saw Kieran with the syringe in him?
I called the ambulance. I told them I didn't know what else to do. I said that my brother was in trouble, that he had taken something.
Do you know by any chance where he got that substance from?
I used to follow him. I was paranoid. I would watch him go inside of Hellfire and come out with baggies like these.
Do you know who runs Hellfire Lounge?
I do. Hellfire is run by the same person who runs Rajankor, Emerson Rajan.
So I want to fast forward back to July 20th of 2024. Can you tell the members of the jury why you were at the Hellfire Lounge?
Sure. My partner, my girlfriend, Allie, she's a journalist. And she was really great about the whole thing with my brother. She was, I think, inspired by his story. And she said that she was gonna do a big story about Rajankor and Hellfire. And she was gonna expose the whole thing.
At what point did you realize that your girlfriend was in danger?
It was when I saw AJ Maloney in the alley holding a syringe of that blue liquid over her. That same blue liquid I had seen my brother take.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, thank you, counsel. All right, cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed when you're ready, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. Ma'am, you're willing to lie, right?
Sorry?
Oh, you do anything in the pursuit of what you call justice, right?
Sure, I'm passionate about justice, you know, I want to stand up for people who don't have a voice for themselves, of course.
Ma'am, that wasn't quite my question. What I asked was, you would do anything in the pursuit of what you consider justice. And that's a yes, right?
Yes,
Doing anything in the pursuit of justice, that includes lying, right?
I guess if I saw someone in trouble or someone needed help, yes, I would lie to them.
Ma'am, in general, you would say you would lie in the pursuit of justice, right?
Sure, of course, I think it's a moral imperative to do anything that you can to do what's right.
All right, ma'am, well, let's break down what you think is right. Because you mentioned on direct, you're the servant, right?
That's right, that's a nickname, I guess, the media picked up from you.
You're a vigilante.
Sure, yeah,
You go out every night pursuing justice on the streets, right?
sure, you know, sometimes it's, you know, flashy things like stopping muggings, most of the time it's picking up litter.
That was a yes, ma'am. Every time you go out, you believe you're pursuing justice, right?
I do.
And ma'am, you believe if you lost this case here today, well, you'd have to give up being the serpent in the city, right?
I do. I think that a big reason that I'm being sued today is.
Ma'am, I'm not asking you to speculate as to why you're being sued.
Just ask that my witness be able to finish her answer.
Response, Your Honor?
No, that's fair enough. I'll allow the witness to finish her answer. Going forward, if you think any responses are non-responsive, you can raise that as a proper objection. And ask the witness to just try and, focus on what the questions are. All right. It's all sorted?
Yes, Your Honor. Would you like to finish your answer?
Could you repeat your question?
Yes, you believe that if you lost this lawsuit here today, you'd have to give up being the serpent, right?
Yes, that's right.
Ma'am, you'd have to give up your pursuit of justice, right?
No, of course not.
Ma'am, you believe what you do every night is pursuing justice, right?
Serpent is one way that I pursue justice, but I try to do that in everything that I do.
Ma'am, my question was, if you believe that everything you do is the serpent, that's pursuing justice, right?
Yes, that's right.
And you would have to give all of that up if you were to lose this lawsuit, right?
Being the serpent, I think so, probably.
All right, ma'am, well, let's break down some things that we can agree.
All right.
Because you'd agree with me, well, you put AJ Maloney in a coma, right?
That's right. I saw him push Allie to the ground and hold that syringe above her, and when he kept going for her, I did everything I could do to stop him. Yes.
Ma'am, bringing you back to my question. You put AJ Maloney in a coma, right?
That's right.
Ma'am, you were here when just a moment ago, Miss Rajan was reading from those intake forms, right?
I was.
And you've read those same intake forms?
I have.
Would you do me a favor and turn to exhibits 1 right now?
I would. I'm there.
Ma'am, you're familiar with every single injury that AJ Maloney got from your attacks, right?
That's right. I understand everything that I did in order to stop him from hurting Allie.
Ma'am, you're aware that when you hit AJ Maloney repeatedly with this wooden block, you broke several bones, right?
I know that happened. Yes.
You're aware when you hit AJ Maloney with this wooden block, you caused internal bleeding, right?
That's right. I had no intention of doing that. I just wanted to hit him until he stopped going for Allie.
But ma'am, to be clear, you hit him with this wooden block until he went into a coma, right?
That's right. Until he stopped holding that syringe above Allie.
Ma'am, you're also familiar with Miss Uchita's intake statement, right?
I am.
That's exhibit 2.
That's right.
Now, you'd agree with me here today that Miss Yoshida, well, she's not in a coma, right?
No, I stopped Mr. Maloney from injecting her with anything.
Ma'am, I understand what you're claiming, but my question was just, Miss Yoshida is not in a coma, right?
No. Thank
That
God she's
intake
not.
form, it says, sorry, would you like to finish?
I was just grateful that she's not.
Ma'am, Miss Yoshida, that says she had some minor abrasions, right?
That's right, he pushed her to the ground before he started holding the syringe.
Ma'am, that intake form says nothing was broken with Miss Yoshida, right?
That's right.
There was no internal bleeding.
No, he was punching her a little bit, but it was mainly with that syringe that he was threatening her.
All right, ma'am, now that we can understand the differences between the injuries of Miss Yoshida and AJ Maloney, I want to break down if this attack, it could have been something you planned. Because you're familiar with the group that goes by the Rats, right?
That's right. As far as I'm aware, the Rats are a company under Rajancourt.
Ma'am, you believe they're a criminal organization, right?
I wouldn't say that. I think that they're a drug distribution company. Perhaps they're involved in the criminal aspects of Miss Rajan's business.
Hold on just a second, ma'am. You blame the Rats for killing your parents, right?
That's right. I think that that company was involved in the death of them. Yeah.
Ma'am, you blame the Rats for selling drugs to your brother who overdosed, right?
That's right. That's the aspect of her company that produced those drugs.
So bringing you back to my initial question, you believe the Rats, they're a criminal organization, right?
I think what they do is probably technically covered under the law, but I wouldn't consider them legitimate, no.
Ma'am, you vowed to do everything in your power to take down the Rats, isn't that true?
That's right.
And you believe AJ Maloney, well, they're one of the Rats, right?
I think it's possible.
You believe they are, don't you?
Yeah. I think it's possible that he's one of the Rats because he was holding one of the drugs from Rajancourt.
Ma'am, in the weeks leading up to this altercation, you followed AJ Maloney around, right?
That's right. Like I mentioned, my girlfriend was doing a story on Hellfire. That was part of it.
Ma'am, in the weeks leading up to this attack, you took pictures of AJ Maloney, right?
That's right. Allie needed pictures for her story.
So the same person you put in a coma on July 20th just happened to be the person you were following around for weeks before the incident? Is that right?
I wouldn't say it's a coincidence. I was following him because we suspected that he was part of an organization that could threaten someone's lives, and eventually he did.
All right, ma'am. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, counsel. You redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor. May Ms. Vonderwall be excused?
All right, Ms. Vanderswall, thank you for your time. You may, you take your seat at the table. Okay. That's the